Thank you all for joining us today here at Retail Revival for the digital conference for e-commerce and retail marketers, where we're putting the customer back into commerce. I'm Ross Williams, a VP of Retail at Emarsys. In this session, I'm privileged to be joined by Edward Drax, the Managing Director from Yocuda, and a joint customer of ours, Warren Hampton, for the Head of IT from Joseph. Today, Ed is going to get you up to speed on what Yocuda do and digital receipts and how brands are using them to modernize the in-store experience, but also the opportunity it creates for brands from a data and a marketing consent perspective. Warren will provide a direct consumer brand perspective on why e-receipts are an important part of digitization, why they have been applicable across the various brands he has implemented them for, and also how the data that's captured is being used to engage with customers post-purchase. Ed, Warren, welcome. Please, can you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do for Yocuda and Joseph?
Thanks, Ross. And thank you for inviting us here today. I'm Edward Drax, Managing Director of Yocuda. Yocuda is a data capture and digital receipts business. We have a truly global footprint. We operate in 5 continents currently, and we work with very large retailers like Marks and Spencer's, Argos, Halfords, and then lots and lots of other retailers as well in the fashion and luxury and electronic space like Longchamp, Reiss, Joseph, and Intersport.
Thanks, Ed. My name is Warren Hampton. I am Head of IT at Joseph. Been with the brand a couple of years now. I've worked with Ed for 10 years, I believe, across a number of brands where I've had the luxury to work, namely Fred Perry, Links of London, and now Joseph.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for joining us here today. We'll crack straight on into the content, if that's okay. With all of the positive changes that are happening to data privacy legislation, getting consent from your customers to market to them is now more important than ever. Ensuring that you're trying to get consent from your customers at all of the relevant touch points will ensure that your customer database will grow and stay up to date with a relevant and useful view of who your customers are and what they're interested in. There are many ways to capture marketing consent at relevant interaction points. Traditionally, this has been done in the digital world with things like newsletter signups and marketing preferences at sign up and checkout. However, as on average, only 20% of retail transactions happen in the digital world, the majority of consumers are unknown to many brands, and brands are unable to re-engage with them post-purchase. Being able to capture who the customer is and their consent to re-engage with them is, in my view, a critical mission that needs to be faced into. Digital receipts is one of the many methods that should be deployed to maximize customer identification. I believe that deploying multiple methods like a loyalty program, barcodes and emails, and clienteling applications are strategies that retailers should adopt to understand their customers better and ensure they can personalize future engagements with their customers. Ed, please can you talk us through what Yocuda do and how you help brands in this space?
Sure. Just to start with, I thought maybe I should talk through some of the trends that we're seeing in the marketplace that I think make Yocuda and our solution very relevant. And those are obviously in this current pandemic world we live in. All the clients we talk to and prospects, data capture has become one of the most important things that they're trying to do. And particularly in store. Ross, you just mentioned that still 80% of sales are done in a store. And that is a huge percentage of sales and a huge percentage of customers. So really, if your stores close again, and hopefully they never do, but if that happens, how do you talk to those customers if you haven't captured an email address? So data capture and really doubling down on that is a trend we're seeing enormously. Solutions for social distancing obviously have become much more prevalent, and people really aren't that keen in handing over paper receipts anymore. And then from an environmental angle, we're also seeing that trend also pushing into the digital receipt world, because in France, they have just introduced a new law called the waste law. And over the next 2 years, they will be banning the printing of paper receipts in French stores. And the government is giving French retailers 2 years to get their solutions in order to fulfill that requirement. But that's not the only country. We're seeing similar legislation in other parts of the world, in California, in New York, in Taiwan, in South Korea, where they're looking at this legislation. So the environmental movement is catching up with the paper receipt. And the last trend we've seen is very much based on our experience and in research we've done with customers. And that is, there's an overwhelming majority of them, 93%, who use digital receipts or would like to use them going forward. And we're at a point where customers are very used to giving over some kind of customer data in store, a phone number, an email address or something in order to identify themselves. So what we really try to do boils down into, I think, 2 areas. Data capture and engagement. Everything that we do, really, whether it be personalization, marketing, clienteling, etc., it all hinges on data, on identifying the customer and linking that customer to their transactions. Now, in store, there really are only 2 effective ways of identifying a customer in store, in numbers, in great numbers, and that is a loyalty program and digital receipts. Now, loyalty programs obviously don't work for all retailers. Maybe their return frequency is too low, or it just doesn't suit the sort of retailer that they are. And also, loyalty programs tend to have a bit of a glass ceiling. The best loyalty programs will only identify a certain percentage of customers, and then the remaining just don't want to be part of another loyalty program. So to fill that gap and to target those customers where there is no loyalty program, the digital receipt is proving to be highly effective. And we're seeing across many verticals, 50 to 60% of transactions each day identified or linked to a customer by their email address simply by offering them the digital receipt. And indeed, with some verticals like fashion and luxury, we're seeing that up to 80 or 85% of transactions identified. And you mentioned the marketing consent. I think this is a really, really important point, because of course, you want to capture emails and marketing consents so that we can feed them to Emarsys in order to do all of that marketing. There is really no other point in a retailer's journey with their customers than at the till, where you have a happy customer standing in front of a trained colleague who's just purchased something and is walking out the door. There is an opportunity at that point to engage with that customer in a well-written script to try and capture that marketing consent. A far more likely outcome to capture the consent with a one-to-one conversation than with a tick box at the end of perhaps an e-commerce journey. Now, in addition to that, I also mentioned engagement. This unique point in time where you have this happy customer who's just bought something, they're walking out of your store and they're never more engaged than that moment in time. Now, if we can provide a digital communication channel that within 2 seconds of that purchase ending is putting a receipt into their inbox with highly relevant content, perhaps other offers or surveys or other content to drive that customer to purchase something or to drive them to the website to engage and spend time browsing with the brand, that really is unique, because every minute that goes by after they leave that store, their engagement will drop. So I think in summary, those 2 areas really around capturing customer data in store for that 80% of sales that still happen in store, and then engaging with customers just after they've left. That's really what we're about, what we're trying to do.
Ed, thanks. I mean, from a pure consumer perspective, you know, myself, being able to have a receipt in my inbox rather than filling my wallet out is just a compelling reason for consumers to want digital receipts. So you know, I completely get it, and I'm one of the supporters of digital receipts, because I hate all of those bits of paper filling my wallet up and laying around the house for ages. And you know, when you want to go and find that receipt, you've actually thrown it out. Whereas now I just need to search my inbox. So I think they're fab. Now, Warren, why are digital receipts an important part of digitizing retail?
Well, Ross, I think gone are the days of the automatic opt-in for marketing emails. We now have to navigate the automatic opt-out, the double opt-in, and it's more important than ever to give our customers a reason to engage with us. The digital receipt is a great starting point for that. It gives the customers an easy to find receipt, just like you're saying. It's not at the back of the sofa or the side of the car or in your wallet. It's in your inbox. It's easy to find. And then if you're giving the customer content-rich data that is relevant to them and has a useful purpose should they require it, I think it's a really, really good stepping stone into our digital brand.
So Warren, you've implemented digital receipts in 3 very different retail brands. What are the similarities in those businesses that made capturing first-party data in stores relevant to the business and the consumer?
Well, Ross, I think every business has wanted more data from their customers, as well as finding a way for the customers to be more engaging with the digital brand. The digital receipt is perfect for starting this conversation. Customers' information helps the brand understand the customer and give the customer high value content, which then encourages the customer engagement. So from a brand perspective, we know more about a customer, we can market to them better, and we'll see them come back more often. And then from the customer, we have a conduit to provide them with relevant information, any upcoming events that we feel would be of benefit to them.
Cool. So it's really a no-brainer from both sides, right? In our previous conversations prior to this chat, you mentioned that there had been challenges along the way in terms of getting a leadership team on board of why you would implement e-receipts. How did you go about getting your leadership team on board with implementing customer identification in this way and capturing first-party data in stores?
Fortunately, a couple of the instances where we've rolled out digital receipts with Yocuda, the journeys have been driven by the leadership team. But in a couple of instances, the leadership team isn't really able to understand the value of the digital receipt. They just see it as a nice to have. Is it worth implementing? Is it just another distraction or another task that our sales colleagues in the stores have to perform? But once you've got the digital receipt platform implemented, you're seeing better quality data come through. It's also another way to start a conversation with the customer at the point of sale. That it's only at that point that the leadership team starts seeing value and benefit in what we were doing. The database grew. There were high levels of engagement across all digital platforms. So there was not just our marketing email suite, it was through the Facebook groups and Instagram. So only then did they really see what was going on.
Cool, understand. And what customer and business benefits have digital receipts delivered in the businesses you have implemented them in?
I think that the biggest benefit is a closer relationship with the customer. It's a more personal one-on-one relationship with the customer, and that helps our marketing team converse with the customer in a way that's relevant to them. And then it takes us out of that group where the customer feels they're just being spam mailed. What's happening is they're getting mail into their inbox that has relevance to them, that there's information there that they want to see, they want to follow, they want to be part of the journey. So I think it really, as I said at the beginning of this, it gives us that one-on-one conversation with the customer.
At Joseph, you're collecting data in store of Yocuda's solution, and you're using Emarsys to personalize engagement with customers that have shopped in stores. Why is this a priority for Joseph, and how do you see it being core to your business and marketing strategy going forwards?
Well, the fact that now that Yocuda and Emarsys are so closely tied together, it makes a solution for us more of a one-stop shop. On the Yocuda side, we've got data coming in, we've got quality data coming in, should I say. And then on the Emarsys side, we can then take that data and push quality conversation points out to our customers. So it's the flow from start to finish that I think really makes sense. It's a no-brainer. I don't really know what much more to say than that. It just helps everyone on our team converse with our customers.
Guys, listen, we're running out of time. I've got to say, this has been a great conversation, and thank you to you both for sharing your valuable insights and experience with us today. I'm certain that the Retail Revival audience will have learned a lot. I certainly did. I'd like to say a big thank you to our two speakers today, Ed and Warren. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, Ross.
Viewers, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us here at Retail Revival. We're always happy to hear from you. So please feel free to contact us if any of today's content has inspired you or left you with any further questions. Here at Retail Revival, we have over 60 hours of content from global retail brands and industry thought leaders. So please ensure you've signed up to all the sessions you want to so you don't miss out. That's all from us here today. And we hope to see you all again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you.